Tokelau ki te taimi hoki tēnei o te ahia. Langona te hakamaulala hoki ki te malu ko lua a Tokelau i te ai hoki mo te tātou proklame ma nā wai taimi nai mihi ai te tātou proklame i lunga tātou alaleo tēnei. Vai hoki TV mo te leitio e awala tu ai te Fatofatoga Tokelau. Kai mo taimi tēnei tau lawa ona te haka hoki te wikinga ki tātou tomana ki te langi. Wā, ko tōna loho mo tōna ngā lei mauna hihani mai ki te ki tā ua pumhai ai, ona iehe a wano wenei ki te tamuhai ai nā hai proklami nei te hai hoki mana a taumuhainga o nā kaukaunanga mō kou lua Tokelau. Katalo hatu ai ki te mamalu te uluhina Tokelau, wena hoki kaukauna te tua e hota hai tau langa kehe. Kai e wena hoki e ta mana matua tapo kinga i loto o ka ainga. Poko he hoki lau te hakalongolong mai ko lua pe mata mai ai ko lua i lunga tātou proklami tēnei, e hokatalo hatu ki te ko lua. Kai wena hoki Tokelau, pinia hoki lawa ni hakahita i tō langa, wena ni tau wale puna he mālohi hoki o ki tā ua i te waitaimi tēnei, tātou talo pēa ki te aloho mo te anga lei tātou te mani te langi, o tōna heoheoani ke mawai ki tā ua te ola ma te mālohi. Kai mo taimi tēnei, e hakatalo hatu toko tangata tēnei, koko tito he kia pōlewia, tau mahai atu mo te malu ko lua te hoki mo tātou pulakalame. Talo honi?
Ia, wena hoki no ka malo atu malo ni Tokelau, ko te hei loa ki hoki ki tātou mo te hihi e tēnei tūla te aheo. Ia vela wana mātau mai ko lua, ia whai hina tamale walewa maali e lele, ka e wiki e pēta nā aloha e tūmau mai pēta nā aloha mo ki tātou. Ia matatana tau hinga, kua tau nuku, pe kua haka tau nuku tēnei aha mata manuia. Vea na mātau mai ko lua, kua tātou te talo, e te talo lawa ki tātou, ka ko ia te tātou te mane te langi e ia huahuangia nā mea ki tātou e hai, ni? Ia, ka e vea na mātau mai ko lua, ki te whatoa ato e mata mai hoki ko lua ki o mā holi ngā, e te Fatofatoga Tokelau, he alo Tokelau, ki nā waiahi e nei kua lewa, ia nā i e lawa ni tāpena penanga, kai ona hoki lawa ko nā tūlanga, e te tau ona hoka tindo, ona hoki ko te hale tēnei he hale hou wa hihui mai ki mātou ki ei, mai vea lawa na mātau mai ko lua, e i e lawa nā taimi e manako mea e ni heo ninga ki mātou, e tuhi ai mana ngā oioinga e matako mia. Kai veia ki tātou polokalame te hiahui tēnei, ke tātou ko te pehe tēnei, ke haka mālo, ma haka tālo hatu ai ki tō luma malu Tokelau, ko lua i lunga o Tālia, ko lua i lunga New Hila, kai mai he lawa i lunga whenua, ma whaho hoki lawa o Tālia, e langona lawa te hiuhia, ko ko heni holani he kia, e haka mālo, ma haka tālo hatu, ia kai holongolonga mai. Whakamalo atu hoki. Boy Davis, thank you for stopping by. Keep watching. Ko te tātou polokalame, tātou ka inga Tokelau. Ni hatalanga pe ni taumoha inga ni mo te hokalelei ati lia o a tātou polokalame vai hatakitahi. Mua, ki te heta na hakatau nuku i te toi ahe o mati ke pā, ki te o te haluhui wa o mati ke pā, ki te hao mua o Pelila. Ia vela wana mātau mai ko lua kua uma ni. Kai tonu he tūlanga te tau hoki o na, ko te heahui nei e langona lawa te hui ana kaukauna i e nei, ke toi whakahei loa ke tu hoki ma he uhio, ma he mātua, pehe kaukauna hoki na whakahei ngai ma te matangaluenga tēnei, te tuku mai ngā tātou polokalame, pa tātou tala, tuku hea ko mai Perth. Te uhio poko te mātua tēnei ki a nila poahea o a nila le mihio poahea. Vela wana mātau mai ko lua ko ia tēnei, nā whakahoi ngai me te kau mai ngau nā tala. Mō ki tātou i te lua he hulu tolu ni, tu lau ka hei e pahala. Ko te vela wana mātau mai ko lua ki te tamana o te kāinga nā kua moe, ni, tu lau te mamalu tātou kāinga. Kai, ko te ahi nei, even though na maua e nā hai polokalame i e nei, nā heo ninga mai te uhio tēnei ki a nila poahea. E langona lawa te hui aua, ko te ahi tēnei e te tau lawa ke hakamalo alo ki atu ki maua ma te tamana tēnei ki a tito. E ui lawa ko te ngaluenga i nei te uhio tēnei ki a nila na tuku mai he luwai hoko te katu nei. E he mahai o na hakateka ke he o e manatua pēa ki maua he ngata ki te tamana o te kāinga kua moe atu. Ia ka vena hoki nā ngaluenga ngali a te uhio tēnei i loto o te tātou polokalame. Ia e lango nā hoki lā ke tuku ako hoki te awanoa ki tātou tamana tēnei ki a tito ki hana kupu hoki te ia ki tātou mātua pako te waili poti tēnei pako te hui o ki tātou mai Perth ki a nila poahea tu hea hoki mana ngaluenga e ona laho mai e ki te ki maua ke ki nā heo ninga. Mo nā teunga tātou polokalame tito?
Ia he la hoki haku hakamutalanga pini tala hoki tukutu e velawa na mata mai loa e kou lua a Tokelau na kaukaunanga te mātua tēnei. Ia e tua e hoki ma nā tamuhainga ke heo ani mai hoki ki tātou polokalame e vena iei. Kai tau lawa he ta mākupu hoki mai te ki māua ke mau pēa e koe te olo mo te mālohi, te mātua, vena hoki koutou uma, e heo ni mai ki te hokalei a tili o tātou polokalame. E tali tonu, mau pēa kou lua te olo mo te mālohi, ke hanga ngā lulu hakatahi ai ki tātou ki te kaumainga pe tuku mai hoki, ni tala, ni hakamatalanga hoki, pe ni ata ke mata ki tātou ki ei, e kai vena hoki ni pehenga. Mō te kalongolongo o te kau kalongolongo ki tātou polokalame. Ko te meia, e langona lau te hihia, ona ko tēnei mātua ma nā taumuhainga. E tu ai hoki mo te heta ki nā taumuhainga ki te hakamatala, mo te tuku mai ni tala ke oto hoki tēnei, ki hakalongolongo ko lua ki e ki nā mea, e te tupu ma nā mea nei taumuhai ki e tu ai hoki ma te ngā luenga na hakohengai mai ia. Kai mo tēngu tēnei, te mamalu kou lua Tokelau, kalongolongo mai ke tā atu te mata mai ki tātou i ripine.
Ia he tala noanga tēnei a te uhio ki a nila poahea, mani hiui o nā komiti o te Heart Valley hakula, ni ki lātou i nei nā host ki lātou te tournament muli tēnei i lunga i Wellington e Heart Valley hoki. Taimi nei, hako hei taini nila, kai mata mai kou lua te malu tātou kāinga.
Tulo koe Tokelau i o tapu ohenua mo i o tapu ahenua. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land which the Fatofatoga TV program takes place on today, the Turrbal peoples of the Turrbal Nation, and pay my respects to elders past and present. Tulo Pasifika TV and radio. Tulo ni ki te Fatofatoga o Tokelau Polokalame. Tulo ni hieni and tito. Tulo ni Tokelau. Ko ko nila poaha ke kaweo mahui o te mātou communications group o te Tokelau Easter Festival ke hoka hoi au te tatou talanoanga nei. Hove e hoka o ngā hoki nā ngana e lua tulau ni. It gives me great pleasure to welcome the host region of the ultimate 2024 Tokelau Easter Festival. Tokelau Hutt Valley Sports and Culture Association, also known as Tokelau Hutt Valley Marlins. Ke tuku nei te awanoa, ke hoka iloa koutou te kau haka longolongo, ma te kau matamata, pe ko ai ienei hoanau, pe ni mātua, pe ni te mana hoki. Ni ka ke tuku atu te awanoa ki te Tokelau Sports and Culture Association, ke ka mata mai e te uho tēnā kia ake nehe. Malo.
Maloni hakahitai ki anila mo te awanoa kutuku mai kai Maloni Tokelau ko toko ingoa ko Akinehe Manea Pereira, ko kumātua ko Kema mai Taisia Pereira, ko nā mātua toku tamana, e te pito hea moa, hea mai toku mama, grandma, ko Daisy ni Tulitfunga Pereira, and my late grandfather ko Vito Pereira, nā mātua toku mātua ko Lahaile Makatalina Pasilio. I have 5 siblings, and I'm third in line from the top, and born and bred in beautiful Pitoni Paradise, here in the beautiful Hutt Valley. Malo lava ni.
Malo ake. Malo, thank you. And I'll pass it over to Vaka as well. Thank you, Vaka.
Hoka tai mo te awanoa, tūlau nā kainga, hakatalo atu, tu malu ma te whaia, viki e pēr te tūmatona aloha ki ona tangata te tūma aloha kauhetai, ko toku ingoa ko Vaka, ko kumātua ko te auhilo mahiuhiana, te tua te auhilo, ko na mātua ko Lemihio Hipiliano ma Lomana Tahi, nā mātua hiuhiana ko Teliano ma hei hutia, tūlau.
Maloni Vaka. E lahe o ka inga Vaka.
Yes, sorry, my wife is Gabrielle Paringasa Lemihio. I have 3 kids, ko te Lemua, ko te Mauri Halua, ma hio he. Thank you.
Malo. I'll pass it over to you ki te uhu tēnā kia Wailui. Thank you.
Hoka taloha atu e Maloni, ko toko ingoa ko Waliti Lui, ko kumātua ko Huripo Lui, he Tokelau ma Katalui he Tonga. There are 4 of us siblings, ko te ulumatua ko Stephen, senior, then myself, and then ko Hiungalu mai waha ma te kimuli ko Stephen Junior. Ko tupuna ko Lui Kānawa Huripo, Makalameli Sungalu mai Vasa Perez, mai Tokelau, Mavailiti Makapuluno, Masakalia Lanu Mata, mai Lapaha Tongatapu Tonga. Ko toku awanga, ko Alehana Pelahia, e toka lua te maha anau, ko Taila Matekaha.
Malo hakahitai ni. Io ki te uhu tēnā la kia Selina Alessana. Thank you, Selina.
Tūlau mahakata aloha, tu ki te kaulua, ki te malu kaulua Tokelau, wena ho ki te kaumatamata, pe ko te kauhakalongolongo. Ko au ko Selina pe ko Helena, tauhuli Alessana Alefosio. Ko kumātua ko Hewilina, he Tokelau. Ko nā mātua o Hewilina ko Vitolia ma Hitolokoloi, ko Hitolo hoki he uvea. I le tu o lo utama o Ole Samoa, o lo utama o Whiawha ai Alessana I Sara, mo whailangi le fōlaunga, o nu o sio mātou tama o Whale Wha, ulutongia ale pata Whale Asiu, ma vai e. Ko na noho ki a hele, taku awanga ko hele ale fosio, nā mātua o hele ko Lili ma le muelu ale fosio, ko nā mātua o Lili ko ake he matawita alofa, ko nā mātua o le muelu ko he tene mahiuia ale fosio. Ko mau hoki e Tokelua te maha nau, ko maleke line ma whiwa ai, ko hele na hanau iau ki lani, kai ola i Polilua, oi ka koa na ola ki nei te Hutt Valley, oi ka mai ai e hele ki te beautiful paradise o Hutt Valley. Nei, malo tato kainga.
Malo, malo ni te kauhio, ma te tuangane tēnā kia whakaia. Hove, it's time for us to talk about how you went with the Tokelau Easter Festival, how it was successful in bringing it all together. I'm going to hand it over now to the president of the Tokelau Hutt Valley Sports and Culture Association, who gave a fantastic opening address at the opening ceremony and welcoming the regions and also making note about the theme, ko te tupulanga Tokelau, ko te lumanaki o ia o Tokelau. And that was also covered by the Ulua Tokelau hoki, te ahionga aliki hoi pule kia alapati Davite. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Ni Ake, to talk about, I guess, who's in your executive, who were the teams that made this happen, what was the vision, the themes, we talked about earlier, the values that are reflected in your strategic plan. If you can talk about what made it happen. Thank you, Ni Ake. Malo.
Malo. Ko he tai mo te awa no ko tuku mai. Yes, Nila, thank you. You talk about our strategic plan that we launched in 2019, and that pretty much took effect as soon as it launched, although it was from 2020 and current 2030. So I guess our values may kine, and I guess are relevant to any other Tokelauan who has been brought up by the parents or grandparents. Ko te inati, our duty of care, not just within our own, but for the collective. And when we say collective, we talk about the mahutanga tupulanga Tokelau Niuhilani, so Aukilani, Lotolua, Lakilua, Polilua, Manawatu, and our own as well. Me te he alohani ma te aloha, working in harmoniously and with compassion, going on holele, our family well-being, where we draw strength from and within our families, and that's our families are extended families, ne? And then te haka aloalo ma te haka tōtua, guess we were brought up with, you know, um, the value of respect, and then I guess within our own Christianity, the faith, because that's what has guided us through this planning. And if I can say safely, our planning took place from 2019. Okay, Te lava, COVID hit us. We had to shut the lid on there, and we've just reopened the lid, and we've just gone, I guess, working smarter and harder. And I think for us here in the Hutt Valley and within other respective regions, we've in terms of working smarter, we've got real experts in like the sports coordinating space. We have Nico Perez as the overall festival sports coordinator, and then drawing on our relationships outside our Tokelauan community as well as, and then we have our Kauhiva expert Selena, he Neo, he Tolo. We have our netball, rugby league, tag, basketball, and then we've got our kitchen crew, accommodation crew, so comms crew, funding and events. And for us, it was working smarter, not harder at the same time, connecting our young people to our legacy, which we can say safely that across all regions, some of us only know the tournament as today, the festival, or from 2017. Ne? But before that, it was from 1975. Eh?
Yeah.
So, bringing all of that, managing relationships, but also drawing strength from within, all our experts within, and this is all at community grassroots, was what made this festival what, like you mentioned, some say it was the best festival ever. I don't know, Auckland could be, but yeah, that's how we've worked harmoniously, with all of those values that we were all brought up with and instilled in us, each to their own.
Malo, thank you very much. You talked about bringing it all together, and obviously the key thing you talked about were the teams, bringing in all those teams. It wasn't just the executive. If I'm right, you're the president of the Marlins, and Baka is the vice president. You have Rosemary Te Whono, who is the secretary, Gale Perez as the treasurer, and Imetilea as the assistant treasurer, and also you have Nia in there as the assistant secretary to Rosemary Te Whono. So it was good to see that the Marlins drew in from those teams. I know Vailui came into this in terms of helping with the funding and with the events. I guess this is really good. And also just to acknowledge too the Gainga Wellbeing Expo team that brought that all in together, all of those Inati partners, those relationships. I'm going to hand it over now to Baka. If you can talk about things like the Inati part, the live streaming, the communications, the key messages, the Tupulanga Warriors to reflect the theme, and also I guess the legacy, and how you managed to also scope out to get some of those well-known Tokelauans out there, the MCs like Pelenato Sakalia, the CEO of Moana Pasifika Super Rugby, Samuel Filippo, a well-known actor in his in New Zealand in those movies, but as well as in theatre. Can you talk to us all about that? Thank you, Vaka.
All good, all good. If I can just pull it back a bit, just to carry on what Ake was saying. I mean, you spoke as to who our Tokelau Hutt Valley Committee are. So when it came to the planning and the design of the festival this year, we had to bring together the teams. So we had the teams within the teams, and if we could liken it to our approach, we've got Ake there, big background in rugby league. So if we liken it to a rugby team, we needed to put together, form a great team to execute the festival. It's been a long time for us to have a festival in general for Tokelau. So we needed to identify in our community who could lead the projects, our teams. We needed to identify key people who could source funding, source our proposal, come up with our proposals to sell our story as Tokelau Hutt Valley, but then also paint the picture of our Tokelau communities across New Hila. And we thank Vai and her team around that funding and grants team. For the events, we brought in Vai Loa, who runs the Hutt Festival at Walter Nash, a yearly festival there, and she was able to manage that project. We had our cultural advisors. We had, our cultural team, which comprised of cousin Helena there, and also guided by the elders in our community need, in that the Manaka, Pohimo, Uncle Nico. There was a lot of them, a lot of the aunties that provided that the wisdom from we gained their wisdom from them. And then we had to bring in Nico Perez as our sports coordinator. As you know, Nico, it might be safe to say you'll be our first double international sports person, playing indoor netball, New Zealand indoor netball and New Zealand indoor cricket. With his sports background on how sports operated, we knew he was our man, and he was able to form his team to run the specific sports. Tag, who we thank Sam Atoni and his wife Nelly and their tag team from Porirua. Our basketball coordinator, Te Tamanaka Matt, and netball coordinator, and our rugby league coordinator is with Cassius from the sports. We also needed to make sure our health and safety was covered, and Ake was able to work with the Hutt City Council there, and also waste management plan through with Ake working with Hutt City Council. So that's just to give an overview of how the teams came together. When you put a Tokelau lens to it, a Tokelau framework, it was, you can liken us to the kohe, with the committee, with the Tokelau that held it. The kohe itself would be our team leads. So the likes of Nico, the likes of Vai, the likes of Selena. And then the bar was the community, all the teams under them who were able to execute the plan. So thank you. As we move on to the festival, I guess we wanted it to be a momentous occasion. Again, it's been such a long time since we had the festival, 2017. So we knew for many, it was going to be their first. For many, it was going to be their first to include their own grandchildren, their children, and for some, their great-grandchildren. We wanted to make sure we acknowledge those who have passed, acknowledge our legacy, our legacy holders within the community. We wanted this festival. We wanted this festival as it included mahotanga Aukilani, Lotoloa, Lucky Lua, Taupo, Manawatu, and Porirua. And we wanted to push the theme of ko te tupulanga Tokelau, ko te lumanaki o Tokelau. We were honoured to have the ulu Tokelau, Ahionga Alapati Davite, who came with the Tokelau delegation. He was there for the opening and spoke with such grace, spoke with such mana about Tokelau, about our homeland. We were blessed to have our keynote speakers. We had Eli Alikana Manu, being Tokelau's first gold medalist in the wrestling back in 2014. At the opening ceremony, we had Pelenato Sakalia, the current CEO for Moana Pasifika Rugby. Some history to Pelenato is he's born and bred here in the Hutt Valley, and he was an ex-Plehitene for the community. We also had Nila, of course, who's provided the community and Tokelau in New Zealand with some great work in the space of in education. We had our MCs also. We had Davite, who MC'd the Poha Tele, and then on Sunday we had our own He Neo Koloi and also Semu Filippo. And Semu Filippo also MC'd our Monday. So we wanted to make sure we had we covered our youth, we covered our elders, and parents. Sorry, I'm going on here. I'll pass it on, I'll come back to you, Niels.
No, that's really good. I was just letting you speak because it's good for people to hear about this. You know, I was just going to say, when you referred to the elders, I was thinking you talk about the elders, the intergenerational MCs. I was just trying to work out where you're going to place Nato and I was getting a bit thinking you better be placing us in the young ones, but that's okay. No, thank you for that really in-depth insight for people to know that the key thing is there, it's about inclusion, ne te māpopo o ngā tino working on the strengths. Thank you for that, Vaka. And I can come back to you for some other questions, but that was really good. The other exciting thing too was the Oriana TV live streaming that was available for our community, and, you know, getting feedback right throughout the weekend. I just know that there were like 13,000, I think that's on the open ceremony now. There's 20,000+ for the Poha Tele, and similar numbers to for the closing ceremony, like the opening ceremony. So Oriana TV, a Pacific broadcaster that was able to provide that live stream, getting information from those that were viewing, some of them calling themselves Team Mata Mata. They felt like they got front row seats. So that was really good to see. And Ono 90, these two young sons of ours from Aukilani, te hoanaua kai pati mahei, ni makopuna kai pati mahei. And as you know, those of us who've been involved in the in the mahutanga since the 80s and even back in the 70s. Kaipati was a key figure featuring in Auckland, composer of songs for the mahutanga Aokilani songs, Haatele, but also still leading. And also he cut these earrings that I'm wearing just for your information. But just to let you know that nā hanau ia kia Kaipati ma Muti Naniheni from Auckland, who were instrumental in getting the social media platforms they targeted for our young people. They targeted the young people, and if you look at the data, get their Facebook page, but their social media, their Instagram, ona hai ni nā mātua mātutua, ko tātou hove he kikila lahi ki eika, ko te tokalahinga, te auhaki a Tokelau, ko te hitu he hulu pahene a tātou hanau, I loto te auhaki tēnā, nei mata ki nā reels a hanau ia na hai lātou, te ono 90, and those were the biggest viewings, I think, for the Pohatele night in particular, the opening ceremony highlights, and also Te Mana, who was available to help with the live streaming with the sports. Thank you very much to Litia Mayava for doing that, managing the expectations around, people. It's the first time we've done that. At least we got to manage filming some of those games. Adrian, Davite, and Charlie Sue Chun, our graphic designers, go lawa na hanau ye na tēnā hai lawa na te design, the logo, the branding at the Tokelau Easter Festival that you can see on the Facebook. I'm going to now ask Fatofatoga to play some music at this time. Ni? Thank you, Nihieni.
When you said you're doing well, it's at least you're all I had. And that's just been like hell. Guess I'm only thinking like you away with us. But I never thought you'd forget me so fast. I'm always
Lalo.
For school. Give yourself a head start by winning $500 cash and kickstart your kids' school year with the best school supplies. Simply send $20 or more Digicel top-up or money transfer from the ClickX or Digicel International website to your family and friends in the Pacific. That's right, send a top-up or money transfer today for your chance to win one of 10 $500 weekly cash prizes so you and your kids can get the best head start to 2024. Terms and conditions apply.
So thank you. Maloni, te kau matamata, te kau hakalongolongo, tatou la ka alopet tatou waka ke hakalong ki te hainga o te Tokelau Easter Festival 2024, then I hosted Tokelau Hutt Valley Marlins. I'm going to now pass it on to Vailui, Ms. Vailui, who is going to talk about the opening ceremony, because there was a lot of feedback in Tino Matutua, especially even those that were watching from afar, about that significance that laid the platform to set for the theme and for the whole weekend. If I can ask you, Vailui, if you can talk about the intent of the opening ceremony, the mana whenua significance. It was amazing to have Te Atiawa there, and seeing mothers of our own hana Tokelau being the mana wahine who were supporting the mana whenua, the hua ceremony that were led by Tokelauan speakers born in New Zealand, Hiokave, Kelemete and Halaniko Pelacio. The ceremony of remembrance, the first time we've had that had the regions coming in to do that. Can you tell us about that? Thank you, Vai.
Haka tai lahi lele. I think the opening ceremony has always been the reflection of the hosting community, especially for the Hutt Valley. The thematic value for Friday is the opening was Te Natini, the collective responsibility. We're shaped by the duty of care for every person, for each other, and for our own community. So for those of us that were part of the events team, with Imeleta Telea and our numbers of our community who were part of that workforce, our role was to ensure a duty of care for the sacredness of our anganuku. And I think the quintessential aspects of honouring Tokelau with dignity was at the heart of how that program or the ceremony was being designed and executed. And I think it's definitely bringing that Tokelau ancestral diplomacy to how we are able to deliver and design a ceremony and formality. So I think the core elements for the opening program or ceremony was the presence of mana whenua and Te Ulua Tokelau as the indigenous people of Te Awa Kairangi, with Te Atiawa and Tokelau having our ulu from the home islands, both to welcome but also to officially open our opening ceremony and as well as the festival. It was just a beautiful way to represent the long-standing relationship between Aotearoa ma Tokelau. The 100-year relationship between New Zealand and Tokelau will be marked in 2025 to 2026. So we felt it was such a beautiful way to bring that part of our history and relationship through Te Atiawa and Te Ulua Tokelau. I think the significance of our spiritual leaders and our formalities to open and close with a blessing. So the elder catechist, Yaiu Leo Hetehano, whilst he's retired, he holds culturally significant roles as a catechist in our Catholic religion, but also as a toiaina and from our region, from Porirua, but his presence was quite, it brings an honour to our formalities. And of course, the next element is the opening and closing words by an elder, with Huli Poloi from the Hutt Valley, but also our elder, Elia O'Brien Yosua from Auckland. I think having that has always been an important aspect of our gatherings and formalities, Geye he toiaina present, but also to give the opening words and also some closing words that perhaps closes formalities. And I think the presence of our Nuahune with Novena as well as Moe, their presence also adds, it brings that sort of honour to us as a community. So we acknowledge both toiaina, but also our elder females that are in our region, and that was a beautiful representation of that part of our culture. I think the next part is the Hua ceremony, which was led by Holaniko Pelahio, Mahio Kave Kelemete, both named after their grandfathers, and they represented the New Zealand-born children of the 1970s and the 1980s, so the second generation of New Zealand-born Tokelauans in the Hutt Valley. Their stance and their nobility to lead such a sacred ceremony really honoured our tupuna legacy. And of course, the poise and the elegance of our Tokelau Mahunetoa, who are also New Zealand-born mothers and daughters that are representing the generation of the 1980s, the 1990s, and the 2000s generation. And having the leadership of Yatina, Jacopo Lupena, who shared her knowledge with our New Zealand-born women. in terms of how female presenters play a key part in that ceremony. But alongside her was Neil Perez, who made the ribbon hauls that were adorning our dignitaries. And of course, the hua was sourced by the Matua Ake Perez. So I think the feeling in the room when the hua ceremony started with the initial chant by Holaniko was very emotional, especially because our chanters and our presenters were amongst our Tinihu Hutt Valley at the feet of that experience. So I think the response and the feeling in the room, the silence was really moving. And I think it was an important aspect for us as Hutt Valley community that the younger babies that are in our midst and those overseas are able to observe and have a sense and a feeling about tupuna presence through the various individuals that are part of the ceremony. And it is our hope that their experience of that may ignite a sense of identity going forward. That's the hua ceremony. I think you've touched on the ceremony of remembrance and the memorial shrine, which is the tribute to our now ancestors that have passed and has always been a very important part of our Tokelau oral culture, heritage and our spiritual beliefs. And I think the presence visually of our loved ones taking a prominent place at the opening was heartwarming, but also being serenaded by the grace and the humility of Tia Lemoa. Lemihio was really the truest expression of our deep emotions in the room. And I guess also it was her Papa Tauhilo's anniversary on that day. And so seeing his smiling face at the memorial shrine with her Nana Huhana in that front row was quite a touching moment. And many people have expressed how beautiful that ceremony was with our candle holders from each of our regions. Yeah. And I think that's a beautiful introduction for us to commit to that part of our acknowledgement for future festivals. I think probably lastly is the power of our Tupulanga warrior speakers with Te Atatu Patelehia, ma Juliana Whanua, but also laid the path for every day throughout the festival. But I think for the opening ceremony, it's a representation that our Tupulanga are global citizens. It's a generation that represents the majority of the Tokelau population in New Zealand. They are New Zealand born and raised. They're of multiple identities. And, you know, their realities and their experiences of being of multiple worlds and their challenges, but also the advice that they were giving to others, which I think was very powerful, and were trailblazing new territory. It's not often that young people are given a place to speak in these kinds of formalities, but it was so beautifully received. And of course, our final is the MCs of the opening ceremony, which Vaka has touched on. I think Pelenato Hakalia and also Petronila Poasa are representing the first New Zealand-born generation of the early 1970s. So I think that's an important element as well. We are all considered tupulanga from different generations and decades, and that was a beautiful way to give prominence to two OGs of the first wave of New Zealand born. And I think both for our two MCs, the trailblazers internationally with their chosen professions and careers, Pelenato in terms of being a Tokelau economic sector guru, who's held chief executive roles in the private sector over decades, and currently Moana Pacific, You know, we don't have many Tokelau chief executives. It's very rare. And so allowing the Lenato to be a representation of what is possible for our babies and even for our generation was very powerful. And I think also his co-lead, Petronila Boasa, as a Tokelau education enthusiast, a teacher, lecturer, author, and has played a key part in Ngangana Tokelau being included into the New Zealand curriculum. I think also speaks to both of their reputations internationally and globally, not just in the Hutt Valley or New Zealand, but in terms of the world. So representing Tokelau economic and education legends at that scale and globally, I think was an important message and celebration we wanted to highlight. Go ahead, Dai.
Malova, Louis, that was a very comprehensive explanation. Pretty impressive.
Can we correct
there you
that?
go.
I think
Sorry.
first generation born in the 60s.
So thank you, Vaka, for bringing that up. I was just, as Bailu was talking about the generations and not wanting to take it away around the tupulanga, I'm looking up right now, I'm Googling and, you know, I'm using the technology in front of us. So this is the generation, people, that we had at this tournament. I'm going to say it, right? We had the greatest generation, and those were people 1910 to 1924. These were the people that we saw that were on the table, a lot of them. Okay, then we also had what is called the silent generation, the 1925 to the 1945. So that generation were the people that were the ones that kind of drove this thing now we know as the Tokelau Easter Festival, which was known as the Challenge, then it became the tournaments. Now we've got, and then we jump on to the baby boomer generation, and I look at that and I see that's the likes of Uncle Camilo out there in Sydney, and even Hiani and Tito, I think that's you as well. And also, you know, the likes of Tim Perez, Joe Kaloi, all of those people in that generation. Those are some of the names I'm mentioning. No, not me. And then we've got the Generation X. That's 1965 to 1979. And we know that those were the ones, we know who you are, right? Those were the ones that we saw quietly working in the background in the VIP section, all those sisters that were helping with the VIP on the Friday, even those that were on the Mahutanga executive, the regional executives like Sister Netta and Brother Benny over there. Just saying, these are the generation. Then we had the Xenials. These were, I think, the coaches and also the regional executives like Ake and Ake and Baka, you're a Xenial. And then we had the millennials, the Generation Y and the Generation Next. And they were the ones that you saw, like the barbers that you saw over at that generation. And the iGens and the Gen Zs. Those were the Tupulanga warriors. It's amazing. And we even had what is now known as the Generation Alpha. So we're talking about intergenerational impact here about the Tokelau Easter Festival. And I just wanted to allude to that because now we're going on to the youngest member of our panel here. Our discussion panel, and that is to our wonderful Selena, who's going to talk to us about her role as Kauhiva for the Kauhiva coordinator for the lead for the Marlins, Tokelau Hutt Valley Marlins, but also she's also a creative director in many facets. People probably not aware that Selena comes from a background in performing arts and what we would call the creative industries or the creative space or the creatives. So I'm going to hand it over to her. She's going to talk about what it was like to look after two Kauhiva, the Tineho, right? And also that lahi o nā intergenerations ia nā kua lawatu mua ni. So I'm going to hand it over to our wonderful creative director, Selena Alessana Aleforcio, to talk about the journey, the choreography, the inspiration, everything. Please enthuse us, inspire us. Thank you, Selena.
Sister one wants to do a trading.
Mala lava nila, hoki he tai lahi lele mo te awanoa. Vena hoki ki nā te, just recapping and going over this has just been, it's amazing to be able to look back and reflect, ne? And there's going to be more things that we're going to look back and go, whoa, thank you very much for that. So as you've said, Nila, so my background is in performing arts, ne? And I can say for all of us, ko tātou hoki, our backgrounds are in performing arts. Awa ko tātou nao lake, with our grandparents, and te kāinga, in our lotu, we had Sunday school. We also had, huluhanga, all these things that we grew up with that's my background too, ne? It's just that my journey went into actually going to formalize and going to study. And that's really what my brother Dolo and I had brought in, is that professional side of things and how that connects into our community, ne? So, and also in reflecting back, ne, it's because this is a passion, it's not work. If you love what you're doing, just like our tupuna showed us that, like I often sit back and wonder, it was now that we're in the background and we're helping to push things, it can be a very stressful time, but our tupuna, they did it with so much grace and just got on with it, ne? There was,
Yeah.
there was no talks. It was just, you get on and you do what you need to do because we need to do this for Tokelau. And nā tupulanga, nai tuputupu ake i nā taimi e nā ne. So for the journey for Te Niho, I absolutely love our babies, because they just reminded us of the joy and the happiness in our culture. They knew all their lyrics. And they actually had, what I really love about our Te Niho Kauhivas, they actually had a lot less time to prepare leading into the Easter festival. They had 1 day a week. And it was sometimes less than 2 hours, So our babies under 5s up all the way to intermediate, knew their material, and they just, like I said, reminded us the joy, because that's the stuff we grew up with, ne? That's what we grew up with, and the love and the joy of that performing arts can bring out in singing our songs and saying our ngangana, and and dancing and telling our stories through the performing arts. So our baby's amazing, and and it's all a collective effort, ne? Because we had, even right from the top, mai te tātou pelehi tēnei, and I'm talking when we peel it back, ne? So we officially started na Tamaiti Kauhiva in 2017, and that's where the journey started for Te Niho, ne? And then going into the 2020, that was cancelled. So we've still continued to do work. And as our president has also said, about finding ways to work smarter, to combine all our skills and all the things that, we are the reasons why our tupuna came to New Zealand, for the better life, for education and all those things. And, we are trying to utilize those, their prayers, all the blessings that they have given us, and putting it into our community, and giving back. And so, and going through our big kauhiva, as many of us saw, the majority of that kauhiva would actually be newbies, their first time at a festival, or a lot of our families who are not actually connected in to the community, our Tokelau community, ne? Through church or any other way. So Ake and I often, always have, we often talanoa about, because of na akoakonga tātou tupuna, about, ko au he Tokelau, ko he Tokelau, I can't say you can't come and be part of this because of a, whatever reason. This may be the only time that they can be part of anything to do with Tokelau. And so that's always in the back of our minds, about making sure that we're, including and making sure that whoever comes, that, you know, he alohane loto tahi, all of those amazing values na hakaako mai a tātou tupuna. So all it, you know, just everything that everyone they have talked about tonight is everything that we've utilised. Collective efforts, right from the Pelehitene to our amazing pokihi. And what I want to highlight, and the beautiful thing about our pokihi, is they're all New Zealand born, you know. They've brought their amazing gifts and talents, and we often have, you know, our elders. So our Heohimo te tamana ki a Heohimo, always there supporting, praying, guiding. And as Vaka has said, all our other elders, Uncle Nico, you know, na mātua matatua, who were always there at our practices. And, you know, us always checking in to make sure that we are doing what we need to do, and that the messaging that we're giving, because that's what I see my role as the bridge, you know, bridge between our elders and ngā mea, you know, with our anganuku, and deciphering that for ourselves because of, you know, the things that we grew up with, and giving it to our young people and the next generation. Most of us ni mātua manita mana as well. So yeah, so there's lots of things that I had to tap into for that. But like I said, it's a collective effort. Everyone, the parents, grandparents, caregivers, you know, we all came together, and also for ngā kauhiwa themselves, taking on what they needed to do in order to be part of the kauhiwa. I'm so proud of everyone. You know, and just like any journey, we have our challenges, you know, because we also, like, every individual is different, we learn different. So it was also making sure that as a team, as a leadership team, that we're providing a safe space for our tupulanga, anyone, tupulanga to come into, you know, and our beautiful queens who were dancing, you know, in the past, Hutt Valley have had a lot more of our queens. And when we say the queens, you know, they're grandmothers as well. So we had a beautiful, you know, like, just, I really proud of Noela Te Hono. I think really important to highlight, because she came through too as a tupulanga, he mātua, now grandmother, you know, and just taking part, and with her babies as well. And there was a lot of that through the kauhiwa, as many have alluded to, being grandparents, even great-grandparents but dancing together. So and Nila, thank you. You've also, you know, talked about so my background in performing arts. So my husband Saleh and I, we are the creative directors of our arts company called Kupenga Effect. You know, and we've come through, many of us would have come through, you know, our own family dance groups. I came through Hatuake, you know, there was also Omata. So there were many different examples of things when we were growing up that actually, to me, it was building towards all this and allowing us to bring all our efforts together. You know, ke hokamana ia, mahiki te ingoa Tokelau for this Easter festival. And yeah, what an Easter festival we had, ne? So hako he tai lahi lele ma toku a wanoa. Loved it, absolutely loved it.
My loss, Selena, I mean, you touched on something. You talked about many things that I'm sure someone, you know, people take something away, but the highlight, I think you talked about bridge building, the conduit from the generations. We talked about the many generations. I think if we look at it, you were really instrumental, because in the kauhiwa is the ngangana, ma te anganuku, nā kupu haka Tokelau, nā hiwa haka Tokelau. Some of them were what is called, I guess, the old hihiwa haka, all of that. So you were able to bridge that, especially for those that are new to the ngangana. I noticed partners, non-Tokelauan partners who are supporting their families, their children to be part of the kauhiwa. You were able to bridge that. And I guess that was the exciting thing, I think, for me when I look at it, this round, this leadership. You were all bridge builders, conduits, future proofing, all of those things. And I guess it's really good to get on to the next part. Selena, thank you. And we look forward to more of your work. Perth is always looking for theatre productions around the Pacific, just saying.
Got you.
Happy to find some Inati partners to get over to
Satellite.
Perth. But I think right now, we're in the spirit about leading and driving and that. I think I'm going to hand it over to Aki if that's okay. If she can share with us highlights about being a leader. I mean, you have a extensive background in rugby league coaching at representative level. You were in the Gold Coast or in Australia just prior to the tournament. I don't think anybody knew that you were leading a core league group there. And it'd be good for you to talk about that role of leadership. I mean, that would have been a challenge, having to think, oh gosh, the tournament's just a few days away and I need to go. But you did it. I could see because you had a good team around you supporting you to go, your family, your mum and your siblings and all of that you've talked about. Can you give us a highlight about being a leader in the mahutanga, being a leader, how that all aligns and I guess to encourage and inspire other women, but just youth in general, ne? Thank you.
Great day, Nila. Yeah, I guess if I go back to attending all the meetings from, I guess, 20 years of experience of just sitting in Tokelau Heart Valley Marlins general meeting. I think Te Aratu Patelihio noted, he, made it known that just keep turning up. And I guess for me, that's all it was. Selena talked about Sunday school, Ngā Mahutanga with, Engelani Amelika, Friday school, it was, before Sunday school was Friday school. So I guess my upbringing, like all of us here tonight, just kept turning up, and I guess you didn't have an option, but at the same time you just embraced it. My grandparents both sides migrated here, and they created the village that they left, the homeland that they left, and what they created was a safe space for us. And I guess for me, being in this space, me and Vaka talked about it last year when we were on 531 PM, that were just caretakers, in our president and vice presidency roles. That's how we see it, because our legacies, our foundations, they've set this up for us to be caretakers. And like Selena said, it's always been about bridging the gap. So I guess if I compare that to the coaching, all it is managing relationships. You've got your players, you've got your trainer, you've got assistant coach, you've got your manager, and then you've got your doctor, your physio, and then you've got your supporters, whether it's the youth parents or your club, the opposition. So yeah, nothing's happened overnight for me. If I can say, it's all been just turning up, being present. And even at Ngā Mahutanga Honotanga, just sitting in, Nila, when you were in there from 2006, before that, just sitting in and even looking to you and how you and the likes of Belenato and all the generations before us had, I talk about Camilo Lui. There was a time we were in the green room in Te Minga, and he nominated me to go on the table with, all the pressure was like, yep, went on the table, and I bored my eyes out because I didn't know what I said yes to. Only because I was pressured to. So, and I get it now. 20 years of experiencing that, being amongst it, being in it. And I guess for me, if we talk about leadership, it's, just being humble, haka and at the same time, bridging the gap, trying to understand what the elders, the needs and the wants, at the same time, trying to bring that together with our tupulanga and even with us as generations, and even just, serving with a good heart, good purpose. We were brought up that way, and I guess it's that's just in terms of coaching and leadership. It's managing relationships, and your delivery and your approach to your audience and your people is key. So yeah.
Marlo, thank you. I just thought it was because I know people know you as the president of the Marlins, but also too, we know that sitting behind you, you come with this wealth of experience around coaching and high performance sports in rugby league and in women's development. And I know that a lot of young people, you have a lot of influence around that. So Marlo, to you for giving also that time and balancing that. So I guess it takes us, it's good to keep talking and trying to navigate the great work that you've all done and everything. I just thought, let's go back to the Inati Partners, because the Inati Partners was a new concept, I think, that came from this when I first heard that, because I remember working with the Collins, we had to use the word Inati Partners and understanding why we had Inati Partners, apart from the fact that we need Tokelau to bring in the concepts, modern thinking, contemporary thinking to what is around. Back then, in my time, it was called grants, funding, sponsorship. But the word Inati Partners seemed to tie in really well because the ownership was driven by community. That's what I noticed this time around. There's things we needed to meet, but these Inati Partners were able to allow that Tokelau space to hold that space in there. Can I pass it over to Vai and Vaka to talk about the Inati Partners and what that means and how that came about, please? Thank you, Vai, or Vaka. Sorry, yes.
I'll quickly jump in before Vai speaks. Just in approaching organisations to partner up with, we just wanted to make sure we shared the same values that of Tokelau Hutt Valley around the Inati of collective responsibility, the Tautua Ma Te Hoka Maoni, service and trust, Te Hoka Aloalo Ma Te Hoka Tuatua, respect and faith, Kainga Noho Lelei, family well-being, and Hualohani Ma Te Aloha, around the harmony and compassion. So as before we wanted to approach organisations, we just wanted to make sure they had all lined up with the values that Tokelau Hutt Valley shared, because we know that those values are the core of a Tokelau family in general. Cool. I'll just pass it over to Vai now.
Malo,
Thank you, Vai.
Cool. I think one of the real important things for the festival was to really highlight us as Tokelau ni. Te Inati is the one practice I believe that only we do. So I think bringing that cultural value of collective responsibility, that every person matters, we all have a duty of care for each other and as a village. So we applied that concept in that the partnerships we are forging with, people that, offer funding, our local providers, central government agencies, and I think as local and central government, so those are the core aspects of our village as a people and in the Hutt Valley here, but also as Tokelau. So I think that collective responsibility and collaboration for this village that is Tokelau, I think was the idea of that, to bring our village concept from back home into this sort of collaborative effort, because it wasn't often around funding and grants and sponsorship. The focus is money, whereas actually for us as a Tokelau people, it's the duty of care for the village, and whatever resources we're able to gain, financial, people, skills, that is to benefit every single Tokelau person that participates. And it's an exciting proposition that many of our partners aligned and really thought it was a beautiful aspect to bring about in terms of this powerful platform is the responsibility of all. So I think it's important to also think around, as Ake said, the relationships Tokelau has, the relationships we all have in our respective professions, but also the businesses around us and our providers. So I think I think it's good to also say that the vision that Ake and Waka Te Laulau committed to, being the largest Tokelau festival in the world, it has a 50-year-long history, the digital platform and providing that as a global festival online. They're the very important aspects of the vision, which was about Tokelau, all of us together. And I guess, the curiosity that the festival and Tokelau being able to unlock this kind of support has ignited some interest across many Pacific community groups. How did you do it, Tokelau? So I guess, we want to amplify Tokelau as a powerful nation globally, and the audacity of Tokelau to be great. But we've done that with humility and grace. And I think the 50-year-long history has really been the core element. It wasn't about Tokelau Hutt Valley as a community, it was about Tokelau katoa. And being given the opportunity to be able to do that for all of Tokelau around the world has been awesome, and so grateful to those Inati partners. I guess one other thing about the Inati partners was also to highlight our own Tokelau community have played a key part, from Te Miuminga, Matua Hutt Valley, the Atahu community group who gifted us the waka to use. The voluntary work of all our communities up and down the country. If we were to put a money value on that, it's in the millions, because our voluntary skills and service probably outweighs financially than the actual funding we got to pull it off. So I think it's been a great way to celebrate Tokelau and also future-proof Tokelau festivals going forward.
Marlo, thank you for that. And you talked about, it was beyond the funding and that for the generosity of those Inati partners, if I can say them. That was Pasifika Collective, or Pasifika Futures, sorry, Village Collective, Mapu Maya. We had Delmi Minga, of course, who were able to support big time, and hence why we had Hawaii Kai on the Monday. It was great to see there, Hawaii Kai. You talked about, we had Te Whatu Ora and promoting those key messages. And the exciting thing too, we had Ministry of Pacific Peoples there. So it wasn't just the government departments, it was also those agencies, that NGOs that were able to give. Creative New Zealand, of course, were in there, and many more. Our communities, you talked about those communities beyond the funding, and we talk about the resourcing, human resourcing. Ko te aloha ni, mea moni hoki nei, tāua ki te tātou I te weekend tēnā, ko te aloha ni, from those communities hoki, the time and the wisdom of the people. I guess it'll be good to just kind of wrap it up in a way, because I think we've covered a lot of ground here in that. But also maybe if we can talk about, those highlights, like we talked about, we had a lot of women on the ground there. But I think, Vaka, not that we're trying to make a point or anything or excluding, we're all about inclusivity. But let's talk about what I witnessed too over the weekend was the network of the St. Bernard boys, if I can talk about that, because you had the likes of Pati, Ngatu, Daniel Olive, Nick Risden, who's over at St. Bernard's College. Can you just highlight that about, to me, what I saw was our men are comfortable in the space of supporting from behind. Can you tell us about that? Let's talk about that for the Tokelau Festival, the humility of our men.
I think it's, as you know, the men just good at just getting work done, whatever was needed to be done. A lot of the boys, not just the Bernard boys, there's a lot of boys, but
sorry, yes.
a lot of the men, the fathers, the grandfathers, the uncles, who provided that muscle from behind. But, you know, it's just to showcase the ladies to make sure they're getting looked after as well. But no, it was good. We speak about relationships. We speak about the values that we have shared. And that's what it all came down to. If I can just acknowledge, you know, all the regions that took part.
Yes, yes.
I mean, it's always, what I wanted to say earlier too was just, it's always harder for the traveling regions, ne? And it had been such a long time. Normally with this being a biannual event, you know, you're in practice, you know what needs to be done, but we hadn't done it for so long. So we knew it was going to be hard in some areas to get communities down to Wellingtons. So we send a lot of love to Aukilani. Just to point out, with our Aukilani community, they have been hosting families that go up and around Jan, because we have the Pacific League tournaments up there, and it's always our Auckland community, Tokelau community, who host the teams there. So we appreciate the love there. To Lotolua, a lot of their people came back from overseas and from other regions to represent Tūtolo. Being at the league field, I just saw a lot of the family boys, the Tuyelus, the Filippo boys. Then you look at the Auckland team, they had a lot of the Yosua family. Then you look at the Hutt team, there were a lot of the Vulu, Gava clan. So, you know, it was awesome. And also with the Porirua, you saw the families. But to go back to the regions, being part of other regions too. So like I was, my last time I performed was of Auckland in 2008. And, you know, by the grace of cousin Selena there, she reached out to me to come dance for this one. She did ask if I could be in the middle front row all the time, but I said, hey, I'll leave that for our the others there.
Wow.
But then also to the family in Manawatu.
Wow.
I was lucky enough to be
See all
with the
his
Manawatu
mistakes.
group. So a lot of love. Also, just want to acknowledge Taupo. Was speed, you know, got some work to do. Be great to have the families there for 2026. If I can acknowledge our national body, Te Mahutanga, for trusting our region for pulling this off. So we thank you for the live streaming. It was the first. There were a few things that we needed to, I guess, going forward, that we can look to around angles, but that's some detail that we can worry about in 2026. But it was the first. And then also acknowledge our comms team, who put together all the social media stuff, all the tiles that were going up on the big screen that everyone kept on looking at. They were always looking at themselves on the big screen. We called a few people out. So yeah, the comms team, there was people from Healthy Families, the Honor 90 crew, Te Mana, we had our photographers there, and there was that old lady, Neela, who was leading that, so thank you. So that's it for me, Malo.
Malo, no, and it's important that you acknowledge those regions. Malo, baka for honouring the work of our regional executives, from those regions. If people aren't aware, because, you know, like Auckland's the biggest city. It's got probably 1 million plus New Zealanders living there, and they are spread far and wide. It doesn't operate like Wellington. Wellington's split into Porirua and Te Hutt Valley. Auckland is one whole body. So you got west, north, south. So malo to Auckland for bringing the community together over there. Rotorua, as you know, is it smaller number, but big hearts. That was their mantra, wasn't it? Their big mantra, smaller number, but big hearts. And absolutely, you could see that with their chant, big ups to their chant. Yeah, and Ma'aukilani hockey. And then, of course, you got Manawatu. Manawatu's unique in itself, too. You got Palmerston North, and you've got the regions surrounding it. Foxton, Fielding, Palmerston North, Masterton, Wanganui. Sorry if I've missed out any other. Oh, Woodville. Those are the regions that feed into Manawatu. So these are people that are living 40 to an hour away, coming into Palmerston North, hosted by the wonderful Joe and Tolu Patelesio. That's what was happening, and all the other community members. And then, of course, you've got Porirua, the largest population of Tokelau people. And you had all of that, managing that. at the same time, you know, in Poriroa, the diversity of the Tokelau community in there. So well done to Bartolo and his crew for trying to bring them all together as well. And also then, of course, you got Hutt Valley. Hutt Valley, you know, again, they're spread out, starting from Petone, but they still managed to pull together. It's getting more diverse in terms of, you know, multiple ethnic backgrounds and so forth, and intergeneration and so forth. But before we go, and actually, sorry, and of course, the Mahutanga National Body, malo to Anton, Tonio Patelesio, Veronica Balvasa, Maria Torley, Leonie Perez, Ana Belasio, is that right, by Louis? That's who, yes, Anna, cousin Anna, and also to Savali, to Elu. That was the national body crew that brought us together for this. Well done to them for entrusting the regions and the host region to do what they do. Just before I go, I think it's important, ni ke hai tau atu the results, if I can do that, the results of the prize giving, just in case people didn't get that. So here we go. The tag champions were under 8s was Hutt Valley. Under 8s tag champions Hutt Valley. Tatoko Patipatini. Under 10s tag champions Poriroa Sharks. Under 12s tag champions Tutolu Rotorua. Under 14s tag champions 2024 Hutt Valley. Under 16 tag champions Poriroa 2, Poriroa Sharks, Open Mixed Tag Champions, Auckland, MTTA Auckland, Open Women's Tag Champions, Hutt Valley, Open Men's Tag Champions, Manawatu. So well done to those winners. And the netball champions, under 13s netball champions 2024, Hutt Valley against Poriroa. Well done. Under 16s netball champions for the Yosua Trophy, Hutt Valley. Masters netball champions 2024, which is where Akenehe Pereira, our president, put her body on the line for her country, for the Marlins. Hutt Valley won that. The C grade netball champions with the Filippo and Akata Lui Trophy, Poriroa Sharks. The B grade netball champions, Paete Malia Luisa Atonio Teki Memorial Trophy, Manawatu. A grade netball champions 2024, which is the Sili Tefono Memorial Trophy, Hutt Valley Marlins. Okay, well done to those winners of the netball team. Rugby League champions 2024, the under 18s Rugby League champions, the Limasil Family Trophy. MTTA Okilani won that one, under 18s, well done. The B Team Rugby League champions for the Elia Yosua Trophy. Poriroa Sharks, well done Poriroa Sharks. A Team Rugby League champions known as the Lua, Lepaio and Mika Perez Trophy. Hutt Valley won that one, well done. And then you had the special awards. The coach of the festival trophy, the Tauhilo Limasil Memorial Cup, was awarded to Yosefo Ahelemo from Poriroa Sharks. Well done. The Tokelau Cultural Heritage Award, donated by the previous Tokelau administrator, Ross Adern. These were 2 awards for the male and female cultural heritage, and this went to Hutt Valley. The Gauhiva Awards were not awarded. There will be a statement coming out shortly around that by the Mahutanga that was explained on the live stream, but there will be a statement to talk about that. The MTTNH Festival for 2026 is at the City of Sales, Okilani, and the MTTNH new executive, the president is Malatina Ngawalofa from Poriroa. Vice President, he's hanging in there, Benny Bao from Auckland. Secretary is from Poriroa, De Aloha Wright. And the Vice Secretary is Lisa Lister. She's hung on in there, the Vice President, Tutolu Rotorua. And the treasurer spot, people, is vacant. If you are interested, please get in touch with the Mahutanga National Body, mttnhsecretary@gmail.com. And then you have the vice treasurer, we have here is Lisa Patelesio Mahutanga Tokelau and Manawatu. That's the new exec, pati mai to our new executive. But I'm going to finish off now with the MTTNH 2024 life members, if that's okay.
Did you say the basketball winners? Or did we... Oh, it's all right. It's all right.
Basketball winners. I will get back to you on that shortly because
Well,
that is important.
Sorry, Matt.
Poriro won the
women's
and the men's winners.
Hutt Valley.
Hutt Valley. Thank you, Matt Eagle, for bringing that together. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me on that. My apologies. My apologies for that. Okay, and now the MTTNH Life Members 2024. So starting from, I'm going to start with Aukilani, Mahutanga, Tupulanga, Tokelau, Aukilani Life Members. These recipients who are acknowledged posthumously, okay, these members have passed away, but they are acknowledged in receiving the life members. Yonatana Kolowai O'Brien Yosua, who also received an ONZM. Eva Laufau, Tangi Lomi, Nohainga O'Brien Yosua, Himona Poasa, Nemia Tanu, Josefa Te Ata. So those are MTTNH life members who are acknowledged posthumously. Then you also have the life members who from Aukilani, past president of the Mahutanga Tupulanga Tokelau New Hila, and also in Auckland, but also who was the one that brought up, who resurfaced up the 1996 tournament, Petueli Yosua, Toiaina Te Mulivaka, Kai Pati Nani Seni, and also Te Uhu Tēnā, Kia Kailele O'Brien Tulimanu. That is from Mahutanga Tupulanga Aukilani, who've received the MTTNH Life Member Award for 2024. Malo, Tutolu Rotorua Sports and Cultural Life Members. These are recipients who are acknowledged posthumously. Hulipo, Waia Yasona, Tamana Tēnā, Toiana Kia Waia Sona, Mavasa Tuyelu, QSM. So these are the ones, I'll say again, who've received MTTNH life members posthumously. These are the ones from Tutolu Rotorua who have received life members who are still with us. Kima Yasona, Eleanor Beato, Te Puka Tuilave, Matu Tēnā, Nā Matu Yena Ke Eleanor Ma Te Puka, Ma Coletta Vili. Malo, pati tato ki Tutolu. And Lucky Lua Taupo Tokelau life members. These are OGs of Lucky Lua. Pahilio Aloha, Etuale Ngawalofa, Etuale e Mani, Makamila Petio. Malo Lucky Lua. Mahutanga Tokelau Manawatu life members. Natamana Yeia. Tino Pakome, Joe Patelesio, Patitionisio, Maheho Tuia. Malo Manawatu. From the Puriroa Sharks, Ramsey Aleforcio, Walehi Amusia, Rachel Atoni, Joe Baker, Okesene Faraimo, Tupotu John Yoapo, Willie Isaac, Rose Isopo, Ruth Kayo, Antonio Patelesio, Ioane H. Perez, Sio Wright, and Veronica Valvasa. Malo to Puriroa Sharks. Tokelau Hutt Valley Sports and Culture Association Life Members, MTTNH Life Members 2024. Selena Alessana Aleforcio, Gele Salamone Amato, Ralph Leafe, Hihana Limesio MNZM, Acapito Pasicale, previous president of the Marlins, Dominic Pereira, previous treasurer of the Marlins, Te Matutena Kia Paulina Rickson, Davite, previous president of the Marlins, Eneliko Tovio, Te Tamana Hoheau, Matalena Tuia, Matutena Nive Vining Ahelemo QSM. Those are the life members for 2024. So just a big clap These are people who have carried on the service for the mahutanga. But that's pretty much a wrap for us. Malo Tokelau Hutt Valley Marlins, malo te lototoa I te hoinga te Tokelau Easter Festival 24. I'm just going to now just give this opportunity if you want to have your final words, to a final shout out to anybody, and we'll just go around, not picking on anyone around age, but let's start off with Vi, then we'll go to Selena, and then we'll go to Vaka, and then we'll finish off with Ake. Thank you. Thank you, Vailui.
I think just final words ke hakahetai lahi lele ki te koe te mātua ke anila, and also the opportunity to be on radio and supporting our Tokelauans in Australia. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I think it's a challenge even for us, because usually we are always being taught around humility. We stay in the background. However, I think it's an important time for us following the festival that we celebrate who we are, and not shy away from it, in the hope that we're supporting our future generations, but also acknowledging our young leaders in this particular time. And I do also want to acknowledge ya kenehe, vena hoki kia wakamahe and your generation has been an inspiration for our older generation too, in seeing how you lead with heart, and how you are able to work together in unity. Ma te hoi aloha ni matauhi nā wā, has been inspiring for also our older generation, and I celebrate that too. And also for the rest of the world of Tokelauans, I wish it all the blessings, and look forward to what the future would hold, and getting really excited about Auckland 2026. And perhaps in the hope that Helena in 2026 may ask of me what she asked of Vaka. Because, you know, I was never asked in the same way, and to be in the Unumua is perhaps my inspiration for 2026. But, you know, you know, I thought, well, hey, we might as well put the challenge towards each other, eh? Maybe it might be auditions 2026. Go here, compete with Vaka to see who's ready with the stamina to be a real unua. But it's an exciting time to be Tokelauan, and thank you so much to you all and all of those that are listening.
Malo. Thank you, Selena.
Oh, malo lava te mātua. Malo nā te, you know, I'm the same, hokohetai lahi lele. Tēnā kua vai atu te tātou hamatua tēnā kia vai. I also want to say a huge hokohetai lahi lele to all of our non-Tokelauans. We know, all of us know, you know, family, friends who tuned in from around the globe. It was such a beautiful, you know, getting messages. So I want to say hakahetai lahi lele to all of you for your support in seeing the vision of what, you know, we were trying to do for Tokelau. Because, you know, added to all the views, getting all the messages of love and support, saying what an amazing festival, and just well done, and thank you for doing that for them. So I want to say a huge hakahetai lahi lele to all of those people who tuned in. But I also want to say hakahetai lahi lele to everyone born outside of Tokelau. You know, whether it's New Zealand, Aotearoa, or Australia, or wherever it is, you know, for all of us, you know, we're bringing up each other, and no matter how much Tokelau you have in your blood, ko he Tokelau, ko he Tokelau, ko tātou, ko Tokelau, ne? So, welcome, hakahetai lahi lele team. Keep doing the amazing work that you are all doing. And I will keep supporting where I can with our kāinga. So hakahetai lahi lele mo te awanoa, and such a beautiful time to reflect tonight. Malo.
Malo, thank you, Selena. We'll keep going around. Is it over to you, Ake, is it?
Oh, I'll jump in out.
Okay.
Hey, no, just to carry on with the dancing, 2026 looking good. Benny, Hemu, and Joe Tuya in Patolo asked if I could dance for them, but I'll just make sure I stay in the hut. So all good. So all good. But for me, over the weekend,
Oh my God.
what I loved to see was just seeing the smiles on our old people, the smiles on our parents, the smiles on our youth, and the smiles on the children. That was the big highlight. And then just reconnecting with the families again from the other regions. That was awesome. Personally, just that whole weekend, it was like a spiritual weekend as well. Just waking up, having my convos with dad, with the bro Himona each morning, just ready to hit the ground running, and then just making sure we acknowledge all our loved ones really. Yeah, so thank you, Kina Regions, katoa. Looking forward to 2026, and again, just I love the way all of Tokelau came together. Thank you.
Malo Vaka. Noted about your availability for the Marlins. Nē kai te tahi tū hoki ni, because we're 2026, 2 years away. Haka tuku ko te awa no ki tātou whānau. Hey, he mana tū lapa. Okay, pass it on to Akinehe, please.
Malo, I think I trumped these two, Lina. If we're going to go there, I think I'll trump Vailiti and Waka. Kai, ni ako ni hai leka lava. Kai malo ni Tokelau, yeah, I guess if we reflect, and one of the highlights was just seeing families reconnecting from all of the regions. You know, Waka talked about the ones who came from overseas and just landed, and just I guess if we haven't seen each other, you know, and these are first cousins, ne? That was a beautiful sight. And even when I went up to the podium, the lectern, just a beautiful sight from left to right when I scanned the room, when I had that moment. On the Friday, right throughout to the courts, the Fraser Park, seeing the mean game, you know, the under 10s, Porirua versus Hutt Valley, that was try for try. And Porirua just trumped, you know, just by one. It was 10-9. And that was like a finals. So, you know, but our Marlins, as if they won, because you can still play a good game and lose. Ne? So that was one of the highlights for me. Yeah, just seeing all the regions come together since 2017. Blessing in disguise. And for us, yeah, it's not about Tokelau Hutt Valley. It was about how we uplift and elevate and collaborate and collectively come together in the one room over the 4 days. So
can I just share the story of Monday with you all before Ake finishes us off? So Ake was supposed to MC on the Monday day, but she put her body on the line. And did you fall over or did you trip up or?
There was people beside me. I got pushed. You have to watch
anyway,
it.
So she put her body on the line and fell over and did her legs. So she didn't get. So she came into the room and said, "This is probably about 15 minutes before the opening, the closing ceremony, to say, Waka, you're on your own." I'm like, "Oh, damn, okay." And then I look out the window and I see Samuel Filippo from Tuatolu vaping. Vaping's not good, guys. No more vaping, okay? So I gave him a call. I said, "Samuel, mayday, mayday, man down, man down. Can you help and MC our closing ceremony?" And as any entertainer will do, he said yes and said, "Yeah, I'm coming in." So if I can just shout out to our Tuatolu family for giving us Samuel for that day.
And Taufia.
And Taufia, yes, thank
Taufia.
you. All good.
And Taufia Pelisasa, he came in from Sydney, who got to sit with us to help with Orina TV. For those who don't know, Taufia has a film and TV background. It was big help. So, you know, we've got skill sets out there. So, Malo, sorry. Thank you, Waka, for reminding. Yeah.
Yeah, so just to take note for the next hosts, don't play finals. Just back to you, Blehi Kere.
Thanks, Raka. I thought you, yeah, your, Uncle Tauhilo and Himono were like, you got this. But like Maka, my late Papa Lahaile every morning, or even when I was in Australia, and I just want to make mention that that role came up in December, and at the time our teams were landing. So for me it was bit of a talanoa with my family, and I knew in my heart that we were going to be fine. And look what we presented. So just want to acknowledge all of our team from Tokelau Hutt Valley who made it happen and made it possible while I was away. But then I came back in and I was like, how have we, that jokes. Kai malo lava, I just want to acknowledge that space. And, I guess we talk about leadership, and it's trusting, it's high trust and faith, and just good people with good intent, purpose, and heart and love. So just on behalf, I guess in closing, it's been, like I said on the Friday opening ceremony, this has been an immense privilege and honor and being part of preparing us in Tokelau katoa to host this next Tokelau Easter Festival that we just did last weekend. It's our 5th time hosting as Tokelau Hutt Valley. It's my 10th festival, and it's the 49th year for Mahutanga. Go 1975, and next year will be the 50th, and I guess that 50 years can be celebrated in the city of Seoul's Mai Aukilani. So, there's historic there, like 2020 was when we were to celebrate Tokelau Hutt Valley Marlins, that legacy over that 4 decades, and even the 45 years of Mahutanga Tupulanga Tokelau New Hila. And here we are now. So, seeing the fruits of all of our labor come to light, come to fruition, surface, that's the highlight, that's the gem, that's where it all landed. And like Selena got messages from overseas that the more to the Epitohau more, however, from the Easter Festival, it's inspired them to take charge and flourish more, and put more time into the Tokelauan identity. So that, what we've done, what we've been able to do is on a national level, Auckland, Rotorua, Taupo, Poriroa, Manawatu, Hutt Valley, we've inspired our brothers and sisters and children near, far, and beyond. So I just want to pay homage and acknowledge all our regions. It's pivotal that we endeavour to continue to navigate our canoe into the future. We continue to honour our legacy. We continue to welcome our ones who stand beside us, who guide us from behind and in front, and we continue to celebrate our lumanaki. Ko te atua, moana haka manuianga aloha ke tika hopai, a tātou haka moe moenga mo te lumanaki, ke moli moli, ke oko, a waia Tokelau ke olatia, ia Tokelau ke manuia, ma te loto haka hetai. Tuhe ai, ma te kikila mamau, mo te lumanaki. Haka hetai lahi lele mo te awanoa.
Malo ni ake, malo Vaka, malo Selena, malo vai lui hoki. Hove kua ngatai tatou talanoanga ki te Tokelau Easter Festival 2024. I know it's been a long one, but it's okay. It's good. We're going to sort that, just to spread that talk out, but it's all good. I just want to say, maloni hieni matito, malo ki te hakahoinga hoki o te Fatofatoga Tokelau, the only Tokelau TV. in Australia and I think worldwide. And as you can see, Hieni and Tito Baka just wants to point out, because he knew you guys are based in Brisbane, he felt the importance of just showing the Brisbane Broncos. So I just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah,
for
the Broncos.
Right, 2 of them are from the Brisbane Broncos. But yeah, malo ni Brisbane, malo Tokelau, tohani koto. Thank you very much. Aloha atu.
Malu Tokelau, ki ka vea na tala mana hak matalanga, mana he ninga koutou. Mai te koutou ke inspire ai i Tokelau, i hiohe mea i Tokelau. Kai mai he hoki ni atia kenga Tokelau, peko hea lawa te inoho ai he Tokelau. Tari tonu na hakalongolongo ma te huia i Tokelau, ki nā taumahainga, e we lawa ko nā kupuni, hei mea e maua ma te hui le mu. Ka hoko hei tai, ki kila atu lawa ma te haika kata, ma te hia koutou ki te hainga te koutou ngā luenga. A tonu ko tēnā hoki nā mana i ai, te ki kila atu ki mātou i waho o New Hila, ki nā tāpenanga, te Marlins, mana ia te ki kila atu ma te maha hau ki nā mea ka te tupu, ni, mō te hakalaputonga katoa, ni, ke manu ia ai e tupulanga a Tokelau, ko hea lawa te ie ki tātou, ko hea hoki lawa, pinia hoki lawa te tamuhai ki tātou ki ei, e weko nā hakamutalanga a koutou na e tuku mai ki te mamalo Tokelau, ni, ke langona la ma tā auhi e ki mātou nā hakalongolongo atu. Ki te mana i toka longolongo, te ohi tonu mai ki nā loto, ke a tiri tamohai ai, ki mātou, te pā ki mātou ki ni tūlanga wena, ma te hia, ma te haime hakatahi. Ko te mea ia, nila, ma te haoa, haka he tailahi mō nā kōkonga. Haka he tailahi mo te aloho ki Tokelau ma ona tūpulanga. Kai wena hoki te kawatu te haka he tai ki te mamalu o kou lua na e heoheoani ki te kaumainga o nā taumuhainga i e nei ke pā ki he tūlanga e langona o mai i Tokelau te huia. Mai te tamaiti ke pā ki o tātou mātutua. Haka he tai o nana ki kila tu lawa te nau ki nā mātua ke lei nā taumuhainga a hoa nau ke taukawe ma puke te anganuku haka Tokelau. Ni, ia, ka te he tama he tai tēnā e ka watu i tuku tangate nei. Ka ki haka toha atu au, ko tito he kia Pōlivia. Haka toha atu me te malo ko lua te hai hoki ma tātou polokalame. Toha ni?
Ia loa, malo ni Tokelau malo te ono hea i ki au matamatanga ki tēnei talanoanga. Mana ia ma te tāua, ia vea lawa ona mali atu tātou tamana tēnei ki a tito, ko te mahaka he tai hoki lawa tēnā. Kai te lahi ko nā huia ma nā monge kua tutui taimi tēnei awa nei, kua ki kila atu ki mātou i hoaho te mana ia nā tāpenapenanga kōlua te Heart Valley, Marlins. Ia ka look forward la ni ki tātou ki te tournament tēnei te lua hoi luhu luono i te whaitua o ki lani. Haka he tai lahi lele nila, Matohawa, ia Ake Perez, Vaka Lemihio, Helena Alehohio, e vena hoki ma te io. Tulomo kai ko mamai lui tulomo io koi loa it wasn't an easy job, but I also know ko na mahutanga venei ko te aloha ni hoka mua malo lava kai veia ki tato polo kalame te malu tato kai ngā Tokelau a he mai te vai he oni a tonu e veia na hapia mai ko lua e lahile na he pehenga hou mana hiwa hou he ki tātua ka tau mahaina kau nei e nei ke haka holo atu nā whianga o te heta veo nei e ni. Kai from our studios here in Brisbane, Pasifika TV and Radio, thank you to our Lady Luck, which is Mrs. Tokelauan, for assisting us with our program this evening. For without her, we won't be sitting right here. Looking forward to next week. Until then, have a good one, be kind, be lovely, and be happy. Ia ni holani he kia, hakatoha atu mō koulua I lunga o Italia, lunga New Zealand, lunga o Henua, kai mai he lalang katoa. Toha koulua.
I stand